Alrighty, we should be good to go now. We should be live here on YouTube. We are doing another brief emergency update stream as a tornado warning has just been issued for the north side of Topeka, Kansas for a rotating supercell that is going to have the capability to produce a tornado very shortly near Rock Creek in Meriden. If you're in this area, seek shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from windows and in an interior room. Our area of rotation is most likely near the Hoyt area, approaching Rock Creek near Highway 4 north of Topeka. So again, if you're in this warning, seek shelter immediately. This is going out for portions of Shawnee, Jefferson, and Jackson counties in Kansas. So this is the first of what could be many tornado warnings today across portions of the central and southern plains, as we are expecting discrete supercells to develop and have the capabilities to produce tornadoes all the way from sections of West Texas back into parts of Kansas, as we're seeing now. And this is an early start to the event here, as one of our northeastern Kansas supercells has managed to take advantage of this nice environment a little bit better than we thought it was going to be able to. So again, pretty early start to the event here today, but we're definitely going to be looking for our main area of activity to be further off to the west with these storms that we have developing right now near the Garden City area and off to the north. We already have had some large hail reports with these, specifically the one over Scott City and then the one north of Dighton concern me for a pretty large hail threat, but some of the supercells approaching Oakley look to have some pretty intense hail cores as well, especially that one near Monument there. We're getting close to 75 dBz values already as this storm has just now started to develop. We're actually at 77 dBz values. So again, quite a potent severe weather threat today here for sections of the central and southern plains. So I appreciate all you guys for joining me on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, it is Wednesday. But again, we are going to be watching severe thunderstorms capable of producing large hail and damaging winds, as well as even a couple of brief tornadoes here over the next little while. So again, I believe that we should be live on YouTube. Okay, just making a quick second check there, because sometimes you'd never know. Sometimes OBS decides to be dumb. But again, we are going to be watching these severe thunderstorm warnings for a while. How is it 5% Tor? Let's be real. Well, actually, I don't know if you've seen this, but on the most recent model runs here, especially on the HRRR, we've seen an uptick in the intensity of the storm mode. We're looking at a couple more discrete storms than we originally thought. Again, usually, or not usually, but previously we were thinking that this was mainly going to be kind of a clustery/linear mode of thunderstorms across western Kansas. But it's looking like as these supercells start to develop along our boundary, there is the very real potential for us to see a couple of tornadoes with any discrete supercells from about now through 8 p.m. here across sections of western Kansas is going to come the greatest tornado threat. And then also a couple of tornadoes can't be ruled out later tonight down through portions of the Texas Panhandle. Now, unfortunately, we will not be able to cover that threat, as that's mainly going to be an after midnight thing. But luckily, we're mainly just going to be watching out with damaging winds for that. Now, I will say that could turn into a pretty intense QLCS event here for sections of North Texas and Southern Oklahoma in the early morning time hours of tomorrow, which brings us to tomorrow's risk. We have a marginal risk of severe weather going out from the West Texas region down to the Mexico border, all the way back through areas in extreme southeastern Wyoming. So a pretty widespread risk, not a very intense one. We're going to have multiple clustery storm modes here that could bring us a couple of brief tornadoes from sections of Kansas back down through Texas, and maybe a brief land spout somewhere in eastern Colorado. But I think the main threat for tomorrow is going to be damaging winds across sections of the southern and central plains. And then we get into Friday, which I will say Friday actually does look like it could be a pretty interesting event here, just because it is going to be so widespread. Currently for Friday, we have a marginal risk of severe weather going out for portions of central Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle once again, but I would not be surprised to see a marginal risk get added here for sections of Dixie Alley and even all the way back through the Ohio Valley, as damaging winds and hail could occur with any significant severe thunderstorms that do develop in the afternoon and evening time hours. So again, pretty active stretch of severe weather here over the next few days, and that's not all, folks. We've got ourselves a pretty potent risk for some severe thunderstorms on April 27th, but there is a day 6 slate risk of severe weather here for April 28th. As many of you know, it has gotten even larger since yesterday, going all the way from Duluth, Minnesota, back into a little sliver of Texas there. This slate risk of severe weather, keep in mind, being issued on the day 6 outlook, already includes over 20 million people, and the day 7 outlook includes even more. We've got almost 40 million people under this new slate risk of severe weather that goes all the way from sections of central Michigan back down to the DFW Metroplex, where we are expecting severe thunderstorms and even a couple of tornadoes to be a possibility. I will say it looks like the most probable area that we're going to end up seeing a significant severe weather threat here is going to come over the southern and potentially back into portions of the central plains. But we'll get back into that in a second here. We did just get a brand new tornado warning for one of our supercells, and you guessed it, northwestern Kansas. This is the one near Oakley and Monument that we mentioned had a pretty potent hail threat. We can also tell that there is an area of inflow here developing. You can see that hook echo popping out of the storm, so likely going to have the potential to see a brief tornado with this storm as it approaches Highway 40 near Monument and Oakley. Actually got some pretty intense but broad rotation developing there just south of Highway 40 near Monument, and again, this is going to be approaching sections of the I-70 corridor as well. So if you are in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. This is for portions of Logan and Thomas County. Again, actually a pretty nasty looking supercell there that's just developed. Now, I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be able to keep this structure because it is currently undergoing a couple of cell mergers. We'll see what this next velocity scan looks like, but this could determine its entire lifetime. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Evan, Mr. Twister, Random Texan Guy, Roman? Again, we've got ourselves a pretty decent chance at a couple of tornadoes here across sections of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas today. A lot of people are freaking out, why'd they issue the 5% risk? Why'd they issue the 5% risk? And I'll be honest, I was in that boat until about lunchtime, where we started to see some of those impressive supercells get that classic look there on the HRRR and NAM models, and it's looking like they are going to be somewhat discreet, at least towards the beginning of their development, which we're starting to see. So again, this is going to be the main time frame that we're watching out for a couple of brief tornadoes here. Again, right now, this supercell approaching Monument and Oakley is actually having me quite concerned. So if you are in this area, we want you to be underground if possible. If you can't get underground, make sure that you are getting on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. But I can tell you, this merger has helped this thing a lot, because this went from a big-time hail producer to a nasty, classic-looking supercell here across sections of northwestern Kansas. Now, going back over here to our Topeka storm, I'm not quite as impressed with it from a velocity standpoint, but I will say there is a good chance that it's a bit more intense in terms of a rotation standpoint than we think, just because there's quite a bit of hail contamination out here, as we see many of these little thunderstorms pop up along our boundary that you can actually see is visible there on radar just south of Manhattan and Topeka. These are all going to have the capabilities to produce damaging winds and large hail up to 60 miles an hour and potentially up to golf ball sized hail there. So again, we're going to be watching these not only for a tornado threat, not much of a tornado threat, but a brief tornado cannot be ruled out, but mainly a large hail risk, and also a couple of isolated damaging wind gusts can't be ruled out south of the Topeka area. So again, I'm a little bit more concerned right now with our supercell approaching Monument. Again, you can see that broad area of rotation, but quite a strong area of rotation nonetheless, just south of Highway 40 at the minute, and this is going to be approaching downtown Monument over the next 10 to 15 minutes, so if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. We do not have a CC drop on this storm. That is not a CC drop, that is hail contamination there. It does not line up with our velocity couplet. And again, if we saw a CC drop that deep, that would be a huge deal, but luckily, again, just some contamination. Now, I would like to point out, we literally just had a new video post on the Davis Does Games channel. I just uploaded the biggest Twisted Chase I've ever done, and it's very unfortunate that that has to come at a time where we're also doing severe weather coverage on this channel, but I would recommend you guys check that out after the stream if you are at all interested in storm chasing or gaming in general. I'll go ahead and throw the link to the channel in chat. Again, make sure that you do go click that subscribe button over there, because honestly, at this point, we end up doing more content on that channel than we do over here outside of streaming. So make sure to go subscribe for extra content and sorts. It's not a CC drop. You can also note that the timing there is different on the velocity scan, the correlation coefficient scan. So not a CC drop, just some hail contamination. Again, this storm is likely producing hail of ping pong to even potentially all the way up to lime size. Honestly, a pretty impressive, I missed that supercell entirely. Honestly, a pretty impressive hail core here near the Monument and Oakley areas right now. And again, this same area here had some quarter-sized hail reported earlier with the same supercell, but in a very different phase before this underwent its merger and started to develop that pretty impressive rotation. So again, getting quite intense there near Monument, Kansas. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. We did just get an update to our tornado warning in effect for the north side of Topeka, Kansas. Again, this still includes Meriden and Rock Creek. Not seeing too much rotation with it at this point, but we are going to continue to watch as a brief land spout cannot be rolled out. Again, broad rotation at best, but that's kind of what it's been its entire time here near Rock Creek along Highway 4. So we'll continue to watch out for it, but in my opinion, that's mainly going to bring us a hail and wind threat. What's up, Goose Man? How's it going? I'm doing pretty well. Again, watching the supercell quite closely near Monument, Kansas, as it looks like it has the capabilities to produce a tornado here very shortly near Highway 40 and I-70. And this is a little bit more populated of an area relative to what else we have out here in northwestern Kansas. Again, it's still not huge, but the town of Oakley, I believe, holds around 1,000 people. Let me go ahead and fact check that. Oakley, Kansas population. So it's actually about 2,000. Again, that's right out there along the Gove as well as the Thomas County line there. So we'll continue to watch this as this supercell approaches. Again, it looks like if there is going to be a tornado produced with this, it's probably going to be quite brief because we don't have a lot of a super discrete environment. Again, a lot of cell mergers here in the back, but this previous cell merger that we had intensified this a lot and led it to the stage that it's at now. So that's always entirely possible as well. I would like to note Stormwater Media did just start up their live feed just above my head. They are actually out there in the Texas Panhandle. They're going to be chasing this overnight threat. They're going to wait here for a while, likely for some big-time thunderstorms to convect. It actually looks like we have a couple thunder showers developing out there already, but we're likely going to see them get a better feed and some more intense action there around the midnight hours. So again, we'll have them pulled up, but it's not likely that we're going to see anything too impressive unless they do decide to push north and maybe go for this supercell near the Groover, Texas area. Right now, this is warned for some 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts, some penny-sized hail, but again, just a little baby HP supercell there west of Groover, Kansas, most likely. So going back over here to our Oakley storm, again, I'm actually quite concerned about this one as it looks like a tornado certainly could develop here just to the south of Monument any minute. So we'll continue to watch this. Again, no confirmation that this is on the ground or anything like that right now, but that could certainly change. Again, no sort of debris signature or anything like that. But we will see what happens. Again, if a tornado does end up developing, it would be pretty much right over Monument. It's not on the ground quite yet, Fred, but it is getting relatively close. Again, our storm near Topeka, not really a huge concern at this point from a tornadic standpoint, but some large hail certainly can't be ruled out. I would like to say this is starting to get its inflow cut off, it looks like, by another little supercell here that we have further to the southwest near the Winona area, so good chance that we're going to see this start to lose some steam from a velocity standpoint very shortly. But again, it had some pretty tight and strong rotation there for just a couple of minutes. And again, it still could. That new velocity scan there, it is actually becoming a little bit more impressive. So we'll continue to watch it, but it's so broad that it's going to really have to get its act together if it wants to do something, and it would have to do that quite quickly. Because again, these cell mergers from the southwest, they're not playing around. They're coming in pretty fast. So again, going back down here to some of our severe thunderstorms in Texas, we do have a couple of severe warm storms south and west of Midland, Odessa. We've got one right up along the Texas-Mexico border, but the more impressive one, in my opinion, comes just southeast of Pecos. Now, you may be thinking, okay, well, there's horrible radar coverage out here on the Texas-Mexico border storm, so how do we know that it's not just as impressive? Well, for one thing, not a whole lot of people live out here, so we don't have to watch it quite as much, and for another, it's a very mountainous and hilly region, so it's very unlikely that we're going to end up seeing any sort of reports of, hail or damaging wind gusts coming out of that supercell. But yeah, what's up, Gary? How's it going? If you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country. Even whenever nobody else is live, we are here. So, again, if you are interested in weather whatsoever, make sure to click that like and subscribe button. We also do documentaries on historical tornado events and stuff like that. So give me just a second here. Again, right now, mainly watching this supercell that is near the Oakley area in northwestern Kansas, as it does look to actually have some pretty impressive rotation associated with it, right up there along the Thomas Logan and Gove County line. Right in the Tri-County region there near Oakley along I-70. So, again, if you are in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Obviously, if we do see some sort of tornado develop, it would be just south of Monument right now, but it would be heading in that general direction, although I will admit the velocities there do look to be very motionless in terms of, direction that they're moving. What is the word I'm looking for? Stationary. So we'll continue to watch it, but new severe thunderstorm warning there going out for Garden City, Kansas. This is for some quarter-sized hail and another little one of our supercells that's managed to pop up here. Actually, a couple of supercells just west of Garden City that could have that capability of producing some moderately large hail. So if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors immediately. Again, that's along Highway 83 in between Plymell and Garden City. Excuse me. Again, I would not be shocked if they go ahead and cancel our Topeka tornado warning very soon here, because this is just really not any sort of impressive rotation. It really never was. It was always quite broad. But this Oakley storm, I'm actually still quite concerned about. Again, either way, we are seeing some unbelievable hail production with this thing. So you want to make sure that you are getting on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. If you are new here, make sure to click that like button. See if we can hit 50 likes this stream. It's up Liminal Reality. Oop, wrong channel. Heyo. Were you trying to tune into the Twisted video? Again, if you're not aware, we do have a video premiering on the second channel literally right now, because we were not planning on having to go live this early. So, whoopsie. But new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Fort Stockton. This is for some half-dollar sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts. Fort Stockton had a beautiful landspout yesterday, moved through the downtown area. Luckily didn't end up causing any sort of significant damage, but, I mean, it had a really impressive look at the surface, captured by, I want to say, storm chaser Brandon Kopic, but I may be corrected on that. So, again, congrats to whoever it was that got that landspout and the couple others that we had yesterday as well. I'd like to point out here our velocities are very messy because we have this hail contamination going on right on top of that velocity couplet, but our actual area of rotation is most likely this here, just south of Monument near Highway 40. I personally would ignore this. This may be an elevated pocket of winds and may be contaminated. I don't think it's rotation, though. I think this here, south of Monument, is what we have to watch. Again, no confirmation that we do have a tornado on the ground, but it could happen here at any minute. So if you are in Monument or Kansas, make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. It was Brandon. But yeah, make sure to go subscribe to the second channel if you've not already, as after this stream, you guys need to check out this Twisted Chase, because it is legitimately the craziest Twisted Chase that I've ever done. So if you're at all interested in gaming or the Roblox Twisted Chases, make sure to go check that out. You guys have been blowing up the second channel. I cannot thank you guys enough for that. The second channel legitimately gets more views than the main channel does now, which is crazy. But I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful that that's a possibility, because, again, I still love doing gaming on the side. Again, I love doing weather. I love doing gaming. It's pretty awesome that you guys love watching everything that I do at this point, and a little scary at the same time. But anyways, brand new severe thunderstorm warning just issued southwest of Tribune, Kansas. This is for ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts. I'd also like to note we do have a couple mergers going into this storm, so we could see this potentially try to develop some rotation quite shortly. So if you're in this area, make sure you are getting indoors immediately and prepare to seek shelter if necessary. So the tornado warning for the Topeka, Kansas storm has been canceled, as we were predicting, but we still do have that tornado warning in effect for Oakley. So if you're in this area, make sure that you are staying in your safe spot. You logged in on the wrong shit. Your Liminal Reality! I'm so stupid, I forgot that was your second channel. That was Jesse's second channel that joined earlier, chat. I didn't realize that channel almost has 1,000 subs. Congrats. What's my second channel name? Davis Does Games. It's got a profile picture very similar to this one. There's your first voice crack of the stream. There's your second one. I would like to point out our severe thunderstorm moving over Scott City is now warned for tennis ball-sized hail. I believe this is the one that we pointed out at the beginning of the stream would have the greatest hail threat. You'll notice they don't know any sort of spotter reports, but at the bottom here it does say that that hail tag is observed. So there's a good chance that we do have confirmed tennis ball-sized hail just now moving over Scott City and areas to the north. So if you're in this area, make sure you are getting indoors and away from windows. If you have time, bring your car out under the garage. We've also got ourselves the tennis ball-sized hail tag now in our severe thunderstorm approaching Utica. So if you're in this area as well, you need to make sure that you're getting indoors and away from windows. What's up, William? How's it going? But yeah, big time hailers. Again, continuing to watch our rotation here near Monument, Kansas. Again, this over here is contamination. But this is your area of elevated velocities going both ways. So if you're in Monument or Oakley, Kansas, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. But again, cell mergers are probably going to kill this thing pretty quick if it doesn't do something very soon. See you, Gooseman. Thank you for tuning in. So, again, going back down to Texas here, we are going to watch some of these storms down into western Texas, as they do look to have quite an impressive hail threat with them. Again, you can't really see it too well on the radar because it's trying to penetrate through all these, mountains, and even just the tall hills can sometimes mess it up a little bit out here in western Texas. And in general, they're also just very far away from the radar site. These storms we're tracking right now are about 80 miles away from the radar site. Obviously, the one up along the Texas-Mexico border is about 200 miles away from this radar site, so virtually impossible to see what's going on with this one. We actually did have a very impressive hailstorm move across the Texas-Mexico border yesterday, and it did reach 81 dBz values on reflectivity, but again, I want to note with a caveat there, the reason that the dBz values got that high is because it was so far away from the radar site. If it was actually up against the radar site or had a normal distance from the radar site, it likely would have been 70 to 75 dBzs. Still pretty impressive, though. Likely some tennis ball sized hail there. But, alrighty. So again, storm media positioning now for some of these thunderstorms that we're expecting to develop here in the Texas Panhandle overnight. Right now, we've got some showers convecting just west of Amarillo, but again, the big-time thunderstorms are going to get going around 9 p.m. here. Again, maybe a brief tornado threat with these, but I think this is going to be more of a damaging wind event as these develop into a big-time QLCS across sections of western Oklahoma overnight. So again, if you are out here in southwest Oklahoma, make sure that you are looking out for some damaging winds. We did just get a brand new tornado warning. That is an extension for our storm near Oakley. This is still a radar-indicated tornado threat, but if you're in this area, make sure that you are staying in your safe spot, not leaving. It also does now include sections of the Highway 83 corridor. Again, still a pretty rural area, though, outside of Oakley and Monument, so we'll continue to watch this, though, as it looks like we do still have some broad rotation there over the Monument region. This also does now include Spica, so again, make sure that you are seeking shelter if you're in this area. Going back down to the southeastern quadrant, again, I mean, this is legitimately a repeat. This is a copy and paste by Mother Nature of yesterday's event. We have a risk for a couple of large hailstones back into the Midwest. Likely going to see some nice structure out there in Iowa like we did yesterday. We're going to have that big-time hail risk and damaging wind risk and even a brief tornado/landspout risk across the southern plains. And we've also got ourselves some big-time severe thunderstorms down in the southeast quadrant, which is exactly what happened yesterday. In fact, the mesoscale discussion that was issued today, the thing that, again, points to the idea of us getting a severe watch or a tornado watch, had the exact same tags in the most probable peak intensity section on everything as yesterday's did. So, pretty interesting to see. Again, at this point, it's a question of which event will be bigger, yesterday's or today's. Personally, from a tornado threat, I'm leaning more towards today. And I said that last night as well, but I still don't think we're going to end up seeing anything incredible. But if nothing else, those landspouts yesterday afternoon there in West Texas were beautiful. Landspout outbreak, to say the least. So again, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Donations are greatly appreciated, but not required. But it does help to let me know that this is going to be a career option for me in the future. By the way, we had some PayPal donations last night that I missed. I think they were actually... There's your third voice crack of the stream. I think they were actually sent in after the stream. We had Alan with the $30 donation, because Alan's goated. W. Allen's down below in the chat. And William as well with the $10 donation. As always, W. Williams down below in the chat. As well as Tenacious with the $24.25. Mayday with the 10 I think I missed. I think we did cover that, but again, thank you to everybody that donated. Incredible. Yeah, it's a tornado that can develop without it necessarily being attached to a supercell. Land spouts are usually much briefer and weaker than your average tornado. Usually don't cause nearly as much destruction. Usually equivalent to EF0 to EF1 tornado intensity, if anything. And again, that's on the high end of land spouts. Some National Weather Service offices warn them like tornadoes. Most of them don't. For the term used differently over the past few years, yeah. A lot of people throw it out just as a general term for quote-unquote weak tornado. Not necessarily always a weak tornado means it's a land spout. So again, as we stated, this further off to the east here was just contamination. And you can actually see this is a beautiful feature on the radar. This is seeing this in progress, in action. In live time, we can see as the hail... Whoa, Matt, with the $10 donation. I'll stop my nerd rant. Matt, Matt's down below in the chat for the $10 dono. Matt's another one of the GOATs. So thank you so much, Matt, for the $10. Let's spam below those Matts in the chat. Alan's back here once again. Again, Alan, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but thank you so much for your $30 donation. That was incredible, bro. Again, Alan is unbelievably goated and supportive. We support him as well, so I guess you could say he's supported. But seriously, Alan, thank you so much. And again, huge thank you to Matt for the $10 donation. W's in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. Landspat is a non-mesocyclonic tornado, yeah. And again, it bugs me whenever people use it interchangeably as a term for weak tornado because that's not necessarily what it is. By the way, we can see now what the report was that led to the hail tag for the eastern tennis ball-sized storm getting upgraded. There was a report of lime-sized hail covering the ground in rural northeastern Lane County, north of Dighton. So again, if you are in Utica, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows. What's up, Stiff? Again, at this point, mainly going to be watching for a hail threat out of our tornado warning storm. Still some weak rotation, though, moving over Monument and Highway 40 now. So if you're in this area, make sure you are staying in your safe spot, again, preferably underground, away from windows. We actually do have a severe thunderstorm warning going back into sections of Tennessee as one of these little pop-up showers and thunderstorms that we see all the time in late spring, early summer, has managed to produce some likely gusty winds out there near Athens. So if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors. Again, this is all a radar-indicated threat, I'd imagine. Yep, but... Well, is it northeast Kansas? Yeah, so we actually did just see a tornado warning in northeast Kansas a little bit ago. Right now, we actually have a huge hail core developing on one of our severe thunderstorms that merged here south side of Topeka. So, again, I'd be looking out for some big hailstones. I'm getting reports. Wow. Okay, so we now have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. This is, guys, this is an exact repeat of yesterday. The first destructive and the only destructive for 3-inch hail. Okay, hold on. Give me just a second. We now have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Manning, Kansas. If you are in this area, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows. Again, bring your cars into the garage. Thank you, Cardboard, for calling that one out. Again, this is a destructive storm for portions of northern Scott County. Again, the hail tag is observed there. There's your fourth voice crack, by the way. I don't even need a counter. I'm just counting them in my head. But in all seriousness, again, massive hail right now falling likely north of Scott City. So if you're in this area, make sure that you are getting indoors and as far away from windows as possible, preferably in the middle of your house. If you are near Manning or to the west of Manning here, it looks like we've got some sort of maybe truck stop. I don't know what that is. But... again, make sure that you are taking the necessary precautions there. Are the storms going to make it to Kansas City or fizzle out before they make it? Great work, by the way. Thank you very much. And I can tell you right now that you're likely end up just going to see some gusty winds, if anything, here in Kansas City. I mean, the reflectivity here gives us a look on the HRRR model 20Z, the newest run. We can see that maybe, 8, 9 p.m., you're going to have to watch out for some damaging wind gusts with some thunder showers that develop. But outside of that, not a whole lot. Again, the greatest chance for large hail is going to come just west of you, and the greatest threat for a couple of tornadoes is in far western Kansas today. So, for the most part, Kansas City should be fine overnight. We did just get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to be for one of our storms down here in the southeastern quadrant. This is in North Carolina, just east of Whiteville. Some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible with this little cluster of thunderstorms that's developed along Highway 74, 76. So if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors immediately. Yeah, for sure, William. And that helps out a lot because obviously we can't look at all the storms at once. I wish we could. I wish I had 18 eyeballs, but unfortunately I don't. Actually, I don't wish I had 18 eyeballs. I think I would get bullied for that. But, again, rotation actually, it looks like what's happening here is we are having a velocity couplet handoff with this merger that just popped up, and the reason I say that is because we can look at multiple radars here at Goodland, Kansas, and then also going down to Dodge City, we can kind of confirm that we maybe have some broad rotation developing southwest of Oakley. So, if you're in this area, again, make sure that you are staying in your safe spot. A tornado warning remains in effect for the next 22 minutes. Again, going back to our destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Manning, we've got this warning for large apple-sized hail still. East of Highway 83 is where your hail core is going to be located, just south of Highway 4. So if you're in this area, make sure you are staying indoors and as far away from windows as possible, as this is a destructive severe thunderstorm. If we look at the correlation coefficient, we can't see any hail, but that's likely just because we are super far away from the radar here. We're looking about 75 miles away. So, again, at this point, our rotation is going to be just south of Highway 40 and southwest of I-70 near Oakley. Again, still got that broad area of velocities approaching Oakley. So, we'll watch out for this. Good chance it does tighten up, but again, I think it's going to get killed pretty quickly due to this being a non-discrete environment. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for that same train of severe thunderstorms. For some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts that goes all the way from Wallace back up towards Colby, Kansas. So if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Going to be possible with multiple supercells in this one severe thunderstorm warning here. Again, they're all about, producing the same threats, so it makes sense that they just issue one severe warning for all of them. Yeah, it's weird how the time zone cuts off in this area, but technically some of these areas, you've got until 4 p.m. until 5 p.m. until this severe warning expires, and some of you guys it's 6 p.m. because we're kind of right up along where that time zone is changing. I believe it changes at the line here of Thomas and Logan counties, or Wallace counties, rather. So again, some of that broad rotation, they're now starting to get a little bit closer to Oakley. So we're going to continue to watch this, as a brief tornado certainly could be possible with this over the next few minutes. But again, we'll see. Again, going back down to the Texas Panhandle, we do have a little thunder shower that is convected pretty well near Dimmitt. But it is west of our boundary here. Or at least what looks to be a boundary on radar. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, developing some heavy precipitation, if nothing else, and some lightning also occurring with that. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That might have been the worst voice crack in the history of this channel. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But anyway, in all seriousness, I'm not going to sugarcoat it at this point. I genuinely do think that April 28th looks to be quite concerning. Again, we've got a huge slight risk of severe weather, but the instability values are going to be ranging from 3,000 to 4,000 on low-resolution models up into portions of Iowa and South Dakota, which is just something that you don't see for this time of year almost ever. I mean, this is a very rare scenario that we're going to end up having here. Usually the upper Midwest has to wait until the summer to see their severe weather season, but they are getting an early start here. Again, the new run of the GFS has well over 3,000 CAPE, over 3,500 CAPE at times across portions of Iowa and multiple areas. And keep in mind, this is a low-res model, so once we start to get those more high-detail, high-resolution models coming in, it is very possible that we see some CAPE values ranging from 3,500 all the way up to 4,000 across sections of the Central Plains. Again, quite a bit of wind shear as well, so, I mean, it is looking like quite a potent event. I will be completely honest with you guys. And then again, that new slate risk going out for the 29th, not quite as concerning, but I will say it looks like we could end up seeing a widespread wind threat for parts of the Ohio Valley. So, Alan, that Geneseo report, I believe you're referring to the tornado from a couple of days ago. Because we did not have a tornado in northwestern Illinois last night, but we did have a tornado near Geneseo on the Easter Sunday event in Geneseo that had that exact same rating. So I'm assuming that's what you're referring to there. Let me go and pull up that damage survey by the National Weather Service for that, actually. So again, this was the tornado I think you're referring to here, went just west of Geneseo. This was in western Henry County. Was on the ground for just under 10 miles. Did some low-end tornado damage there, some mid-range EF1 damage west of Geneseo along Highway 6 and along the Green River. But we had a plethora of tornadoes confirmed from northwestern Illinois from the 20th, the night of the 20th in particular. Again, all of them being rated either EF0 or EF1, nothing too significant. I will say if we do see one get upgraded, it would likely be the Galva tornado. We had a widespread swath of EF1 damage reports coming from Galva and surrounding areas. Was on the ground for just under 17 miles. Again, we didn't have any surface view of it, but we were covering it live, so... So, new severe thunderstorm warning just issued, again, kind of covering two storms with one polygon here across ports of northwest Kansas. Again, this is for our storm that was previously destructive. We do have a couple of spots out here, including Jordan Hall. Apparently, he's on this severe thunderstorm. So, if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows immediately. Again, this is such an unbelievably rural area. No, it's not. There are just no town names popping up. Is it because I clicked that little map button? Hold on. No, because oh. Whoa. Alright, I didn't know you could do that. I'll be totally frank with you. But that new severe thunderstorm warning they're going out for Pence. I was like, this is a rural area, but we've got to have something. Anyways. Again, continuing to watch that weak rotation approach Oakley and Highway 40 as well as I-70 in northwestern Kansas. Again, that tornado warning remains in effect for the next quarter hour. Again, our severe thunderstorm warning for the southeast side of Topeka is, it does have that, oh my goodness, stop voice cracking. Anyway, I'm going to stop bringing it up. I just thought it was kind of funny, but it does now have the ping pong ball size tail tag there. Again, likely some large to very large hail that fell there over Barryton. They did just update the tornado warning in effect for Oakley. It is still a radar-indicated tornado warning. Nothing confirmed with this storm. But we'll continue to watch this area rotation just south of Highway 40. Again, Storm Media going after some of these Texas Panhandle storms that are starting to develop. What's up, Vincent? Again, they are hoping to get that QLCS event later tonight, moving through parts of western Oklahoma, I'd imagine. Which, honestly, I can't blame them, because the okay, so I was going to stop pointing it out. Because the tornado threat is so conditional, it may be better to go for a guaranteed damaging wind threat than anything else. They're also in an area where if they need to, they can reposition to the West Texas storms if nothing ends up happening. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Hugoton, Kansas. This is for some golf ball sized hail, as well as Rolla. If you're in this area, make sure you're moving indoors and away from windows immediately. We do now have a report of a damaging wind gust coming out of our Topeka storm. This was from 32 minutes ago. This is from one of our cells further to the north. This isn't from the one that has a severe warning now. But we had a National Weather Service employee report some 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts near Perry. Again, I'm quite concerned for some of these supercells in southeast Kansas to develop a large hail threat, but not too much of a tornado threat, really, with any of them at all. Again, the one that was tornado warned was very broad in terms of rotation. Look at that. Live look from Burlington, Kansas there. This is beautiful. Amen, Briar. Again, you can see those tops getting quite high with those thunderstorms there already. The echo tops on some of our thunderstorms in the Kansas City metro are getting 46,000 feet high, so pretty tall thunderstorms out there, considering their strength is not quite that impressive. Getting up to 52,000 feet in height with our storm near Tribune, Kansas. So very tall thunderstorm out here. Again, quite far away from radar, so hard to tell exactly what's going on, but it looks like we got some large hail falling there southwest of Tribune at the minute. Again, the hook echo is starting to become smaller and smaller every scan as this approaches Oakley. Again, we're going to see that rotation go right over Oakley if it remains intact that long, but it's not going to produce the tornado or anything like that at this point. So, we'll see. I always say that. I always say we'll see after I'm done talking. Just a nice way to wrap up a sentence. But yeah. So the severe thunderstorm warning for Garden City has now been upgraded to lime-sized hail. So if you are in Garden City, make sure you are getting indoors and away from windows as fast as possible. Again, pretty impressive hail core developing just west of Highway 83, even a resemblance of a hail spike starting to pop out of the storm there south of Holcomb. So, something's trying to happen here. And again, that hail is going to be moving into downtown Garden City very shortly. So you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare. Again, our Oakley storm here, the velocities are becoming less and less impressive every scan. Very weak. If we go up to the higher levels of the atmosphere, though, what are we looking like? Still very weak. Okay. At this point, this is more so a surface-based rotation than anything else, which is usually a sign that things are done. So, is nobody saying anything, or is chat broken? Let's see. Alright, chat is not broken. We do have a couple thunderstorms popping out south of the Denver metro. Again, these are just going to be a wind threat. Check Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas is, again, in the middle of that big old cluster of thunderstorms right now. Again, some hail, heavy rain, lightning, all going to be possibilities, and I will say a bit of a flooding threat could ramp up very quickly, as we already do have just over 2 inches of rain in downtown Topeka, and you got more thunderstorms to come. So, again, avoid driving in flooded roadways. But outside of that, no sort of tornado threat or anything like that for Topeka. But thank you for tuning in, Christine. Chat might be broken, but I'm definitely broken. That got dark real fast. Again, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country, and we've got an active stretch of weather coming up. I mean, we got 3 waves of hail. Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that you get a very small batch of hail here, a 4th wave. Again, it's funny, the broken cluster in these thunderstorms is right over Topeka right now, so there's a good chance that in Topeka it's just sprinkling, but it is about to get very heavy very quickly again. We got a little supercell developing over Nevada, Missouri, with a hail spike and everything. I mean, this is this is kind of wild. Getting close to 70 dBZs there with that storm along Highway 54. Maxed out vertically integrated local signatures. We do have a spotter on that storm, so we should get reports if anything too intense does go down. Again, likely just going to be some big hail with that, though. No sort of tornado threat in that region, as we are lacking several ingredients. New severe thunderstorm warning for our storm in the Texas Panhandle. This is going near Hardesty, Oklahoma. So if you're in this area, make sure you're moving indoors and away from windows. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and some half-dollar-sized hail. Again, we're going to continue to watch this storm near Oakley, but the rotation is dying fast. Still some broad velocities there, though, just south of town. Hi, Davis. Marginal risk for me tomorrow. Yeah, the marginal risk is quite large for tomorrow. If we do see a slight risk, it would mainly just be for a wind threat. But, again, big old marginal risk going all the way from Cheyenne, Wyoming, back down to the Mexico border. So, that was a horrible job at circling that. Just horrendous. Again, I wouldn't be shocked to see a marginal get added either for the Ohio and Valley and Dixie Alley. That rhymed. Wouldn't be surprised if we see an enhanced tomorrow for Monday. It's certainly possible. Again, not necessarily looking at a crazy tornado threat just yet. We have to see a couple more things like storm mode and if these instability values are really going to be as high as we think they are. But if they are, we are talking about the potential for a widespread tornado outbreak on Monday. I will say that right now. Again, everything's in place for something big to go down, which would be historic for this area this time of year. Again, these are the winds at the 850 millibar level. If we play this out, come on. Again, you can see that spiking there right over our slate risk area. And again, I think the state to watch is going to be Iowa in particular. Funnily enough, the entire state of Iowa is included in that day 6 slate risk. But yeah, I mean, let's just hope that things downtrend, but I will say it is looking like it could be quite significant. Anyways, the day 1 outlook. Okay, it did pop up. I just didn't see it at first. I think it waited to pop up until I tried to change it, of course. I'd imagine they're not going to reissue this tornado warning this time, as, again, velocity is very weak and broad with this at this point. I know, right, Alan? For anybody wondering, the April 27th documentary not happening this year. When it releases, it will be on the anniversary of April 27th. Maybe next year, but if I wanted to get it out by next year, I'd really have to start working on it here pretty soon, which sounds ridiculous, but I have to make the documentary good. We cannot, disrespect that outbreak. We want to make sure that we are giving you guys the most accurate and the most detailed information possible whenever we release that video. Because, again, there were just thousands, if not millions of people affected by that event in such a tragic way that we cannot, it would just be a disservice to, half crap a, 8-minute just money-grabbing documentary video talking about, two of the biggest tornadoes. So we're going to do it right if we're going to do it. And doing that event right will take a lot of time. A lot of time. So, again, that may honestly be the next Tornado Outbreak documentary. Probably not. Every F5/EF5 Ever series is going to kind of conflict with that series, because we have to cover 4 EF5s with that, obviously. Also, Alan, with the $2 dono, just want to get on the donation board. You know what? Since we didn't count the donation for yesterday's stream, we'll throw you up there for today's as well. We'll throw you $32. W. Allen's in the chat. The Go Allen. He's always here, and he's always amazing, so show Alan some love in the chat. As many of you guys know, Alan is by far the top donor on this channel. So W. Allen's down below for all the crazy support, especially as of late. Thank you so much, Alan. Alrighty. I want to get, like, automatic donations set up. That's the next thing after the automatic warnings is automatic donations. I want to just get to the point where I never have to leave the radar, other than starting the stream and ending the stream. Yeah, W. Allen's down below. I mean, even Tuesday looks like it could be somewhat significant, but I think Tuesday's going to be mainly a wind threat and a couple of isolated tornadoes across the Ohio Valley. But very early to say that, honestly, so I should probably just keep my mouth shut. You know what, for all you folks that have stuck around here for the first hour of this stream, I've got something special for you. The beginning of a very large video coming soon. I have like 3 large video projects in the work. This is one of them. So I'll let you guys take this of what you will. But, again, something big's about to go down, and this is going to be one that you guys can participate in. No longer a tornado warning in Kansas. It has been canceled there for the Oakley area, so again, all clear. We did just get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that's going out for sections of Texas and Oklahoma. I do want to quickly point out we do now have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning across portions of eastern Loving County and West Texas. We have a monster hail core with this. This thing is incredible. Approaching Wink and Kermit, some baseball-sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. If you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows in an interior room. Luckily, the greatest threat is going to stay off to the west of Wink and Kermit, going along Highway 302. Give me just a second here. Got to update the stream title, stuff like that. Alrighty. So let me update the stream, as we no longer have that tornado warning there. We're going to stay focused in on this Texas storm now. I don't know. Let's check here. Yeah, both these threats are just radar indicated. But if you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter, because very serious and significant wind-driven hail coming your way. And just those winds on their own could be a problem, with down trees, down power lines, damage to roofs, damage to some weaker structures in general. So you got to play that safe. And again, honestly, at this point, I would treat this like a tornado warning. Again, we've got those extreme wind gusts, and then that baseball-sized hail to go along with it. But second destructive severe thunderstorm warning of the day here. Let me get back to chat. Sorry. Whoa! I missed 2 donations. My fault. We've got Michael with the $5 donation. W. Michael's in the chat. And Sam with the $5 donation. I did, bro. That was wild. Congrats. Thank you guys so much, both, for the $5 donations. Again, sorry I missed those. I was updating the stream title, but W's down below in the chat for Sam and Michael if you've not already. Again, I did not mean to do any disrespect by waiting that long. Alright, Sam and Michael, you guys have just made yourselves down below on the dono board. Thank you guys so much for the $5 donations, both of you guys. That's incredible. Again, that helps out a lot. So thank you guys very much for all the crazy support. Alrighty. Alright, see you, William. Thank you for tuning in. Anyways, again, thank you guys for the donations. Going back to our destructive storm in Texas, again, continuing to watch this monster hail core move just southwest of Wink. Again, very impressive hail spike there poking out of this storm. If you don't know what's going on, what I mean by when I say hail spike, what's happening here is the radar is trying to penetrate through this hail, but it's so dense and so large that it physically can't, and it creates this glitched feature that we like to call a hail spike. It's that little spike poking out on the edge of the storm there, and whenever we see those, that means that we've got a huge hail event ongoing with the severe thunderstorm that it's associated with it. Yeah, we've got a destructive right now, Sam, and we actually had a destructive for large apple-sized hail earlier in Kansas. Again, don't underplay the hail threat with the Southern Plains events. Again, today is literally a copy and paste of yesterday's event. Again, in my opinion, today had a slightly greater tornado threat associated with it, but we'll see if that plays out or not. If it were to, it would be over the next couple of hours. Again, if you are new, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to get this stream to 50 likes. We are 2 away, chat. 2 away. We're also at 4,114 subscribers, so 6 away from 4,120. Alrighty. So, again, we're going to continue to watch this as it moves off to the north. Our storm that Aaron J. Jack is on here in the Texas Panhandle is currently producing some large hail. So, again, if you are in the Hardesty, Oklahoma area, make sure you are preparing for that, getting indoors and away from windows. But again, monster hail associated with this supercell north of Pecos. At least as of a couple scans ago. Very intense. It still is, honestly. So we'll see how much longer they keep this destructive tag on it for. Again, also warn for some 70-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts. We do have a line of thunderstorms here that has developed along the Louisiana-Mississippi state line. Again, you can just see how many individual supercells are in this cluster. It's unbelievable. But luckily, they're not able to develop very far because we don't have hardly any wind shear out here. But the Cape Valleys alone in Dixie Alley during the late spring, early summer are enough to carry these supercells. If surface-based Cape Valleys would load, that would just be incredible. I guess we were using a model run that hasn't fully come out yet. But, again, you can see those Cape Valleys there ranging anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram at the surface, even getting closer to 3,000 in a couple of spots. So, again, even if our wind shear values aren't great, this is enough to carry it. Unfortunately, you can look at bulk shear with HRRR. I guess I was thinking of NAM. But you can see those shear values in the first kilometer of the atmosphere, not super impressive. But that is really the only thing stopping us from seeing something intense here. Again, dew points are quite high, even for this time of year. In Dixie, we're heading to the 70s today across most of the Gulf Coast. It's again, very moist environment out there. We have 50 likes. Let's see if we can hit 75, chat. We are at 56. We're only 19 away. And thank you guys for all the support this stream. Alrighty. $75 DBZ likes. Hey, we hit 77 DBZs today, so if we get higher likes than we did DBZ values, that'd be incredible. We did just get a relatively new severe thunderstorm watch. That's going out for sections of the Texas Panhandle, as well as... Sorry about that. As well as, like, the far northwestern corner of Oklahoma there. Taking a look at that severe thunderstorm watch, we can see that it notes the threat of a couple of tornadoes being possible, damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour being possible, and hail up to lime size cannot be ruled out. Sky's cleared up for us right now. Yeah, those supercells for the most part have already passed through the Topeka Metro. We do have this little guy near Silver Lake that's going to bring you some brief heavy rain, but outside of that, things are pretty much over for the night. These Texas storms have developed quite quickly. Again, Storm Hunter Media about to be on this one with a special weather statement near Dimmitt, Texas, for gusty winds up to 55 miles an hour and some some half-inch size hail. We've used half-dollar size hail, that term, so much today, I just started saying it. We did get a couple of reports of quarter-sized hail with our destructive severe thunderstorm, but keep in mind that was well before the most impressive portion of its hail core started to become apparent. So, there's still a very real probability that we are seeing some intense hail out here west of Wink and Kermit. Can look at that. So, again, I'm sorry I'm not saying much. We are kind of getting to the end of our day of coverage here. Again, I'm going to really doubt that we come back later unless we have like a confirmed tornado or something, which is very unlikely. Again, these cells in western Kansas just are not discrete enough to do too much. So, again, looking at the 20Z run of the HRRR one last time before we end off stream here. If it would load, that would just like make my day. There we go, day made. Again, as we go into the early evening time hours today here, about 6 o'clock, we're going to be watching for a couple of these supercells to become a little more intense across the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. These could produce a brief tornado, but mainly just going to be a wind threat as those develop into a large QLCS event overnight through sections of southwest Oklahoma. By 2 a.m., the Elk City region is going to be under the gun for damaging winds of 60 to 65 miles an hour, potentially even higher. And that's going to be the same story for Oklahoma City in the early morning time hours of tomorrow. And even further east of there, by the time you get into the mid-morning, 9 a.m., starting to move across east-central portions of Oklahoma. And if we go back to the 18Z run of the HRRR here, we can actually see that that's going to likely make its way back through sections of North Texas as well, potentially throughout the DFW Metroplex. If not, it'll go just north of there. So, before we end off our stream here, we did just get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. That's going out for sections of Georgia. Another one of our little Dixie Alley storms has managed to convect far enough to the point of meeting severe limits. This is for Reidsville and Metter along I-16 in southeast Georgia. This is for portions of Candler, Evans, and Tatnall counties. So if you're in this area, make sure you're moving indoors. We got a couple of supercells there, likely producing some gusty winds. So, again, thank you all for watching this live severe weather coverage for today. Again, we will be probably back tomorrow. It's like a 50-50 chance. If not, we will be releasing our December 9th documentary on Friday, so make sure to tune in for that. And Friday, there's also a decent chance of us having a stream, so make sure to tune in for that as well. But anyway, thank you guys for all tuning in. Peace out.